So we start by making the pattern. So after masking your last, you draw your center line, and after taking the center line, you mark your lateral ball point on both sides, and then you draw your vamp line. Place your tape on both sides of the lateral ball point, and then you take your vamp line. See it? Now we are going to, this is our vamp line. See it? So now we're going to measure our instep. So from here to somewhere here, we take 1.5 inch. 1.5 inch. Now we are going to take our drawing from that point down. So we measure from the back of the last, we measure 3.5 inch. Mark it here, and then we take the drawing down to that point. So now we're going to mark the edges of this, the feather edge of the last. We're going to mark it down to the cap. So now with that, we are done with the diagram. We're going to cut it out. Remove the pattern from your last. Make sure you have a straight line on your cardboard paper already. Just see the straight line. See it? Hope it is visible. So now we're going to place from the vamp point to the cap on the straight line, while from the vamp point to the instep is going to be slightly above the straight line. That is according to the shape of the last. Always take your time to do this to avoid too much crease. So once we are done with pasting the pattern on the cardboard paper, we take a line from the vamp point to the cap area, that's a straight line, and then take another straight line from the vamp point straight to the instep point, and also we extend our vamp line. So we're going to be making some adjustments. Let me cut this into smaller pieces to be able to move it around. So we make some adjustments, make some corrections where necessary. Now the next thing we're going to be doing is to add our stitching allowance. We're going to be stitching this down. So I'm going to be adding 1 inch. I'm going to be adding 1 inch round. And also here I'm going to be adding the folding allowance, that is about half inch. That is going to be our folding allowance for the edge. We're going to use it to trim the edge. So once we are done doing that, we cut the pattern into shape. Now it is time to spring the vamp. Draw a straight line on your cardboard paper. Then divide from here to here into two to get your low lateral instep point. We need it to be able to spring the vamp. So here is it. So now we are going to cut from here down to this point, then from here to here. That is what we're going to do now. So we are going to align this pattern to the straight line on the cardboard paper. So I've gotten my masking tape ready. So watch closely to see what I am doing. Once you have gotten it to the straight line, use your masking tape to hold it to position on both sides. So we are done with the springing of the vamp. Now the next thing you're going to be doing is to cut out your marking dot along here and also along the feather edge down to the cap. After doing that, get your cardboard paper, fold it into two equal parts. Make sure it is going to contain the pattern. Then place the edge of the pattern on that folded edge and then mark out the details. So after marking it out, staple it, and then we are going to cut the marking dots. You see it, and after doing that, you now cut the pattern into shape. So we are done with the pattern tutorial. I'm going to be showing us a quick guide on how to use it. So this is what the pattern looks like. You see it? So let's proceed. Remember to mark the pattern facing. You see it? Very important. Now we mark out the pattern on our leader, apply gum here, and then we fold the edges. after folding the edges, this is just a guide on how to use the pattern. So after folding the edges, you can attach your landing, but I'm not going to be using landing because this is just a practical guide on how to use the pattern. So I am done folding the edge. So you see it, assuming I'm making the footwear now, I'm going to attach my landing in the stand, so but I'm not. So let's proceed. So now I'm going to place the raw file on the reverse and then mark out the allowance on the back of the pattern. So this is where we are going to be applying our gum round this edge. So this is our insole. You can use leather as your insole. You can use Marco, but make sure you gum leather at the top so that it will be reinforced. So this is the shape of the sole we are going to be using, and then I'm adding ½ inch around the original shape. That is going to be the allowance where we're going to stitch the pattern to. So watch closely, use a ready-made sole, mark out the shape of your insole, and then you add extra allowance round the original shape, about ½ inch, add it round. So now I'm going to cut it into shape. So I'm marking where my 3½ inch measurement is on the last, because I'm going to transfer it to the insole. So now I have already applied gum on the edge of the allowance and also on the edge of the pattern. So now I am going to carefully align the pattern around the edges of the insole and making sure that I follow the marking at the top of the pattern. So I'm going to be doing this carefully because I'm following the marking on the leather and also the allowance on the insole. Remember, this is just a practical guide on how to use the pattern and also how to couple it. So I have to take my time to align everything. I'm watching the marking at the top of the pattern as the upper, and also I'm watching the allowance on the insole. And also when you are choosing insoles, make sure they are insoles that are not too thick, that is insole that you can easily stitch on your machine. So I am done doing that. The next thing, we are going to cut off the excess allowance. So let me cut off the excess allowance. So I am done doing that. Don't bother about the shape. After the stitching, we are going to place the last into the shoe. So let's stitch around. Let's go over to the machine to stitch. So like I said, make sure that the insole you are using is not too thick. So you stitch around on the marking. You're going to be stitching on top of the marking. I'm supposed to stitch round down to the back of the sole, then come up, but it is not necessary because this is just a guide. So you can do that. You stitch from the cap round down to the back. You see where my hands are now. You go around there, but I'm just going to stop at this edge here. So I am done stitching. The next thing I'm going to be doing is to force the last into the shoe to regain its shape, and this is what we have arrived at. So the next thing we're going to be doing is you attach your main sole. You gum your main sole, whatever material that you're going to be using, you gum it, and then the next thing you're going to be doing is to smooth the edges around. You understand? Fire down the edges until you get the shape you want. And that is that. If you have any question, feel free to drop them in the comment section. And also don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon to get updates, because more videos are still coming on the way. And this is just a guide. It's just a practical guide on how to use this pattern. So I believe you have learned something from it. Have a nice day, and see you in my next video.